Good evening, everybody. Let's get us on the screen. Welcome to Airsoft Radio, your weekly Airsoft show discussing all things Airsoft, whether it's news, opinions, or just general Airsoft discussions. I'm Graham from Airsoft Nation, and with me is one co-host, Sarah, aka Coolsign Tactiquin.
Hello.
There we go, in that direction. Unfortunately, Jim could not be here tonight, so we'll hopefully get him on next week. But our special guest this evening, for episode 20, unbelievable, we're at 20 weeks on here, but he's Chris Woolman from Extreme Airsoft, the store, the sites such as the Department, Project X, which we're definitely going to be talking about for sure, and Valhalla, which is the newest site, I believe, at this point.
At this point, however, there's some news regarding that later on, but we'll get into that.
Ooh, very exciting. So yes, welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks for having me, mate.
You're definitely a couple of busy guys. Obviously, you're not the only one behind Extreme Airsoft, but we'll be talking about that this evening. Guys and girls of the Airsoft community, welcome. If it is your first time here, welcome. We go live every single Monday at 8 p.m. here on YouTube and Facebook. If you are watching live right now, feel free to jump into the comment section, leave your thoughts and opinions on the show, get involved, and we'll be doing our very best to feature them throughout the show. And don't forget, if you aren't able to join us live right now, you can either catch us on the replay or just download the podcast, which is available every Friday from all your favorite podcasting platforms. With that said, let's get into the show. Obviously, we took a week out. So after 20 weeks, we took 1 week out there while I was away on holiday, and we were all busy doing other things. So Sarah, how have you been?
Oh yes, very good. Actually, not playing Airsoft as such, but I wanted to show off my new stock. It's
very nice.
QRS VFC stock, and not only I think it looks quite sexy. The problem is with VFC guns is that the space here for batteries is really small. So I changed the stock, and you put the battery in there instead. So you got a much bigger space, and I love it. And it's all ready for NAF.
Yes, a few weeks ago for that one. Looking forward to it. That's a really nice stock.
I love it.
I typically seem to stick with the stocks, essentially the stuff out of the box with that. But every time I see someone with a custom stock and some of that looks a bit different, I'm like, I really should have changed that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't think I would actually change the stock because I really like the one that it came with. But batteries, no. it just got too much in the end. I got too frustrated with it. So that's what I've been up to.
Batteries are definitely a sort of a not an issue, but they're a most commonly asked question inside a store actually as well. Is that they're like, oh, I want a bigger battery to fit this, or what battery is supposed to fit this. So it's nice to see that with a much bigger space. It opens you up to so many more options.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm really pleased with it.
Yeah, and we can already see people in the comment section sharing their favorite stocks. So I'm sure that's definitely going to be up for contention. Everyone's got their preference there. I'm quite liking that SSG stock. Or watch the speed soft go down in flames as everyone goes, you can't have that as a stock. I mean, Chris, you must have your fair share of stocks there in the retail store.
Yeah, we've got a few. Obviously, the myriad of crane stocks are ever popular, as a go-to. But some of the New Pro brought out a couple actually just recently that were pretty popular as well. So yeah, but I'm a PDW man myself. I've got to say, I like my PDWs.
So the limited stock there is on that one then.
I'm
simple,
very
it's just a simple stock.
Although right now I'm rocking a VFC MP7 AEG, so the battery space in that is actually surprisingly generous.
Oh really? I was going to say the MP7 seems to be really up there. People sharing a lot of videos on YouTube at the moment, watching some of my favorite YouTubers all rocking them in either AG or HPA versions or GBBs. It definitely seems to be the flavor of the month right now.
We've noticed a big uptake on site actually of MP7s in particular. Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that's because of the VFCs recently come out?
I don't know. I don't know, because
there's no like real movies that have come out and suddenly the MP7's there. I don't even know if it featured heavily in John Wick. That's typically the driving force.
Yeah, I mean the STI John Wick pistols. Don't talk to me about them. They're we've sold out of every batch we've had, so it's
oh wow,
really popular. But MP7s, I don't recall seeing it. No,
it's definitely an interesting one. I know there's been a lot of people always wanting them, and I know the issue in the past has always been performance, and obviously the proprietary gearbox being a bit of a pain in the arse.
Yeah.
But no, they are.
It was just a tweaked electric pistol gearbox, wasn't it? Really,
yeah.
So kind of the power was always very low, so everybody migrated to the gas blowback version of it. But then VFC have kind of changed the game when it comes to an MP7 with the AG, because the FPS I know on the Far East versions are around about 380, 390. On the ones that came into the UK, they're still pushing 330, so that's decent FPS.
No, absolutely. And Tom there from Airsoft Action, which I'll be talking about you guys very shortly, or Airsoft Action TV, says the MP7 is featured in SEAL Team, so maybe that's one of the aspects.
Yeah, probably.
It's a brilliant TV series. So, no, very cool. Chris, have you been up to anything much this week or the last couple of weeks? Obviously, you've got a big event coming up this weekend. And,
we've had a lot going on over the last sort of month or so, really. We had the reopening of Project X after the lovely weather situation and toilet plumbing situation and flooding situation. The place, you've seen the film, a Money Pit.
Oh yes.
That was kind of what I saw every time I pulled up to the building. But we had our first game day back down there on yesterday, which was awesome. And then literally we've closed the doors on there for the next week, because we have our open day coming up this Saturday down here at Croft at the Department and Extreme. So busy.
Yes, we're definitely going to be talking about the project, because I know you say it's your first day launch back. You've had several days down there, and I know a few people still go, I've not heard of it. And I'm like, how can you have not heard of this site yet?
We took on the building around about a year and a half ago now, when we first got the building. And the task was nothing short of humongous. And clearing off what we had to do. I mean, you came and had a look, and it was
a year ago. Yeah, a year ago I came and had a look. Yeah,
it was crazy. So we managed to get half of the site sort of empty and built and gaming, and then we just seemed to have one nightmare situation after another that was completely out of our control. So we tried to paper cracks over and then crack on, but in the end it was kind of like, you know what, let's shut it down, let's get it right, and let's get it back. And yesterday was the reward for that sort of 4 or 5 months of nothing going on, so we could really focus on it and get the builders in and get it done. So it was good. It was good.
I know, as I said, we will talk about this later, but I can see a very promising future for this site, that's for sure.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. When I walked there the first time, I was like, this whole floor? And you're like, no, not this whole floor, all the floors. I was like, oh, damn. And Tom here there from Airsoft Action was actually there with me at the time, and we were just walking around in absolute disbelief as to how big and how much potential the site's got. And we will be showing a video, so if you're watching us on live, the video will be coming up very shortly. Alternatively, if you listen to it on the podcast, it will be in the show notes. Some news in the Airsoft community. First of all, as Sarah said earlier, the National Airsoft Festival is it's 2 weeks away, isn't it, George? Just over 2 weeks' time. So if you are looking to go, today is the deadline. So if you're watching this, it is the 12th of August. Today is the deadline. You need to book your ticket by 10 p.m. So if you're going to go, join the, what looks like now about 2,500 players are booked on. Make sure you get your booking in there. Should be a fantastic weekend, as always. Maybe not always for the gameplay, but it is good for the socializing. So that should be a very cool one. In other news, it's a little bit late because we weren't here last week, but NOVRITSCH has released the SSX-23, which is his take on the Mark 23, the NOVRITSCH, the TM or the ASG Mark 23. Sarah, have you seen this one yet?
I have, yeah. I've been watching the video that he released. I haven't watched any reviews on it yet, but apparently it's a pistol that is almost totally silent. Am I right on that? I think I am, aren't I?
Yeah, absolutely.
And my thoughts on it were, okay, well, is there any other pistol that actually does that, or is this a first? I don't think it's a first, is it? There are other pistols that are as silent. I don't know.
It's obviously a clone of the TM.
Yes, I was going to say.
The main difference I could see was so the main difference I could see from the video that I saw and from people talking about it is that it's got a different hop, and also it's a full metal slide as well on top of it to obviously give it more weight. As for isn't it something like an extra £40 for the suppressor? I read somewhere.
Yeah, so essentially this is his version of a Mark 23. We've got the TM one, the Tokyo Marui, which is very popular with snipers. NOVRITSCH has had one for a long time. ASG have bought a clone version out, or a cheaper version out, which is, what's it, 50 quid, if that, I think.
$59.99.
Yeah. And then there is STTI and a few other brands. And basically, it's all the same gun. There's slight different tweaks internally. And NOVRITSCH has brought its own out. And as you say, Chris, the top slide is now metal as opposed to all plastic, being most of them, especially with the fact it's TM, is plastic anyway. And you're right, the silencer comes separately. And what's interesting is you can actually, see if I grab the video here, you can actually screw the silencer in half and make it shorter or longer as to what you need.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, it is essentially internally we're looking at potentially most of, if not exactly the same as the other brands, but as Chris was saying, they've changed the hot bucking. So it's a different hot bucking in there, and they've changed the fact that the way the hop's adjusted, they've put a top-down center mod. This is all the stuff that the Mark 23 community have been doing for a long time now. But essentially, I almost say like with all these other rifles, he's taken all the mods people do, put it into a rifle and say, look, it's ready out the box, with his own little unique little twists on there.
Yeah.
See if I can grab a video of it now. But yeah, the silence is the most interesting part to me because it's separate, and that you take the whole silencer, you can unscrew half of it, put the cap on, and now you've got a shorter one. You could be extreme and literally have a centimeter silencer. Or you could buy 3 or 4 silencers and put them all together. There
will be somebody who will do that, and they'll also bring it into a CQB arena as well. I can see it already.
Yeah, I've already seen. Yeah, I've already seen videos of photos of people going, I know what I'm doing as soon as I can get to it.
I'm just taking everyone out before you even shot anyone.
bang kill from 1.5 meters.
I think the other thing he said was that it can be used in quite low temperatures.
Okay.
So I don't know how that's possible.
Well, the thing is, the Tokyo Marui could be. It's a non-blowback. So when you pull the trigger, nothing happens in terms of none of the slides moving. So because of that, it's so efficient at gas. Let's see if I can share my screen here.
The only area that is actually going to get cold is going to be the Mac. So providing you've got a half decent sort of trigger discipline, it isn't going to gas out because there's nothing else to get massively cold, is there? Other than the nozzle, I suppose. No, exactly. And you can see that on the live stream now. You can see that they've created an area now where you can put a red dot on top. Again, all accessories required. You can see the suppressor. That's half the size. He's kind of cut one down. What's interesting is the way you'd essentially put a flashlight attachment. The problem with the Mark 23 is it's not a standard size. And so most of us have glued a rowel to the bottom of our rifles, and he's not fixed that. He's basically said there's 2 drill holes. You can drill a hole through the body
and then screw it into a round. So it's kind of like a middle ground. Rather than fixing it actually on the mold, you still got to do a little bit of DIYing on there.
He's TM high cap at it.
This is all out. He's saying this is all out of the box, but still you've got to do something to it.
Well, it's, if you want that customization, I will be honest, I think this is, one of the only Mark 23s. And again, the same thing with his SSP and even the SSG to a point. You can just take it out of the box and it's going to perform better than most out the boxes, but you're paying a premium for it, aren't you, at the end of the day? You're paying one for the brand. And then in addition to that, you're paying for these upgrades, which you could do yourself probably cheaper. But for a lot of players that just want to get something out of the box, I think it's going to be a big seller. Again, I think that, NOVRITSCH has got a big following as it is.
Oh, yeah.
But I also see a lot of the Mark 23 community, even with the guys that will shun it right now, when they're looking for a replacement, they may just go, you know what, I'll spend the extra 20 quid or the extra 30 quid and go buy this one instead.
What is the retail on it? I can't remember what it was. Is it 130, 140?
Yeah, let's. I was going to say, I think it is about 140 something. Let's have a quick look here.
So with the suppressor, you're looking at 180, 190 there, aren't you?
Yes, if this is it, yeah, with the suppressor, you're looking on different. The cool thing is with something like this is that NOVRITSCH. So right now it's 135 euros for the pistol with one mag.
Do we know if the suppressor would fit other types of pistols, or is it just exclusively going to fit his gun?
It's a 16 millimeter. No, 14 millimeter. Sorry, counterclockwise. So yeah, anything 14 wise will fit. Here we go. Let's just share the screen here.
Buy his suppressor then. You could use
no, absolutely not. He basically said we're not setting it with because most people already have a suppressor. And I'd also argue, since you probably can't buy that suppressor for America, putting it in the box may give them an issue. So I wonder whether it's like, you know what, we want America to buy this. America find it really hard to buy Tokyo Marui, so they can't get the Mark 23 very easily. And I just wonder if he's like, we'll keep the suppressor separately. But yeah, well, the good thing with something like this is, very cleverly, when it's out for release with him, it's not only just a pistol, but every accessory is ready. Obviously, he's not made them, but he's got stuff for it all.
What was that? What was that tin of gas that he had with it there? On the previous page, it looked like there was a picture of a bundle there.
Oh, so he's recommended NuPro 1.0 gas.
Really? So does that suggest that it's going to be hot out the box then?
Well, so he recommends 1.0, and I think he was saying it comes in 280 with that. So you reckon 330 with 2.0?
Yeah, probably, yeah. I don't know whether it was maybe the same issue that I know the ASG ones suffer with the out the box. They can be a mite toasty.
Yes.
So I wonder whether it was kind of maybe he was preempting that with the 1.0. But
the thing with the ASG one is that silencer's got an inner barrel on there. So the ASG one, you can't use the silencer without taking the inner barrel out for most sites.
And you can't smash the inner barrel out either. I've tried.
It does take a little bit of delicacy on there for sure. And then the other thing, give a shout out to these guys, Double Tap Designs, one of the arguably the best holster for the Mark 23. They've actually worked with NOVRITSCH this time around to actually have a rather than 3D printed, actually injection molded holster. Unfortunately, it's only right-handed right now. Oh, actually, there is one that says left-handed. Oh, maybe there is left now. Oh, no. Left is 3D printed still. You can see that. I didn't say, because of being a lefty, this is one of the holsters that solved a lot of the issues for me. But yeah, so obviously Double Tap Designs are working with NOVRITSCH on that, which is great news to see, because it looks like NOVRITSCH is starting to work with a few other people on there, rather than just go, no, I'll take that. That's my idea now. Well, I mean,
do that,
as we could say with the Mod 24. I mean, SSG 24.
No, he doesn't do that.
But yeah, I think it's interesting. A few people are already commenting saying the metal slide's pointless. I think that most people argue, obviously, none of it's moving. It's just more about if you want to feel a little bit more weight to it, and it will be interesting to see how it performs. I know a lot of people from the YouTube world have already got these now and been trying them out and reviewing bits and pieces, jumping on straight away. But it'd be interesting to see what people think of it later down the line, and whether it suffers from some of the issues that the other brands do with, feed lip snapping, for example. So we shall see with that. But I presume the OEM hasn't been revealed yet, but I'm sure it won't take long before people get that one now. Yeah, exactly. A few people in the comments are already taking their best guess on there. So no, that's really cool. As much as we all joke on him, I think he's got a good thing going there, and I think there are definitely players out there that it's suitable for. If you do want to just get something out of the box, and you're a loyal fan and follower of the brand, you just are going to pay a little bit more over the top of it for it.
There was a great little sort of back and forth going on. I can't remember which one it was. One of the Facebook communities. Already there is these guys who are like, "I've got to have it. I need to have it." And then there's the guys who have the TM, who are immediately like, "No, God, it's not a TM." And I was reading it sort of 5 minutes. I'm thinking this is going to be epic. It's going to be so. The TM Master Race. So not having it, there's nothing better than the MK23.
Should have brought my TM Master Race T-shirt. I've got it out there somewhere.
TM Master Race.
I wore it when I was away for the week. I was grabbed that straight away. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one to see. Again, there isn't anything really crazy in there. He's just basically building on what the flaws are, because that. The ASG one or the TM one, none of that's going to really change. It's been the same pistol that we've had out for the last 10 plus years. So it's good to see a little bit of fixes, to say, on that. Also, in the Airsoft community, last point I wanted to talk about here was the Airsoft Surgeon Championships for 2019. Let's just grab that photo up there. So this is the annual event. Let's grab the photos. There we go. The annual event of the pistol competition or shooting competition held by Airsoft Surgeon over here in the UK. This year it was in Isle of Wight, beg your pardon. Isle of Wight. And it looked like it was a really, really good weekend. We can see that this competition side of Airsoft and the target shooting is really picking up pace. A lot more interest. What's really cool is there's some real young guns out there. Let's see if I had the video up there earlier. You can see, there we go, on the right hand side there. The little guy there with his pistol on there.
He's really big than you.
What's amazing, I wouldn't say it's this top video here. Let's see if I can grab it. He was actually out shooting other shooters, which was really cool to see. There we go. Everyone was cheering him on. I'll just fast forward that a little bit. But you can kind of see the situation there. So this is target shooting, target acquisition, loading pistols as fast as you can, stuff like that. But it was great to see a lot of live streams over the weekend, which was really cool, and really exciting to see what happens with this.
Yeah, it's interesting because we don't often see a lot of this over here in the UK. Obviously, they've just had some sort of championship over in Asia, haven't they? We were talking about that
we had
2
the World
weeks
Cup
ago. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see more and more of this, to be honest. I mean, is this the only sort of shooting competition we have in it for Airsoft here? I think it is, isn't it?
I think there's a lot of IPSC stuff goes on.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. I must admit, actually, we've seen, as a retail side of things, we've seen quite an upturn in people who are purchasing either online or coming in store. High cappers specifically, not for skirmish. They are doing it specifically for practical shooting. So there's definitely, I think, an upturn in it. We've noticed it from the retail side. But I think you're right. There's not, other than the IPSC stuff, I don't remember seeing a great deal of it. I think the multi-gun guys do something. They came down to the department and ran a day down here, but there's not a huge amount. I think you're right.
No, that's it. Yeah,
and
I think it's on the rise, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But in terms of actual just airsoft ranges, I know there's one near Liverpool. I can't remember what it's called, but just airsoft ranges, just so you can just practice and practice. We don't have a lot of that here, and it would be interesting, and it would be good to have more of that, because in America they have all the ranges in the world. No, I mean, this is great. I mean, it's good to see the little ones getting stuck in as well.
There is actually an outdoor range, which is probably about 5 miles from us here in Croft, Thurliston. I think actually Airsoft Action used it.
Yes,
they did, didn't they? For their
yes, Tom's been using this.
That's right. Yeah. So I know they definitely don't do skirmishes, but I don't. They've got quite a big sort of standard rifle stuff, sort of 4.5s and stuff. There we go. Tom's just yeah. So I think it's definitely a growing aspect of airsoft. And to be honest, it's a nice one to include, more and more people into the industry and sport.
Yeah, definitely.
The issue is always going to be when it comes down to ranges is real steel versus airsoft. You're not going to find a dedicated airsoft site having a range open all the time necessarily. I know there are definitely a few out there before someone jumps in, but if we can get on to real shooting ranges and have a little bit for airsoft, then I think that's the best way to do it. The issue has always been the two communities aren't necessarily united when it comes down to the fact that we use plastic BBs.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Tom's done fantastic work over there at the air gun range and the archery centre to explain what it is, show them it, and they've gone, yeah, it's fine. I know a lot of ranges will have issues picking up BBs at the end of the day. That can always be a bit of the issue. But I don't know, did either of you see by T-Rex Arms the video where it showed an airsofter firing a gun for the first time and using that for practice?
No, not at all.
Okay, so Sarah, you may remember, I'll get this video up, T-Rex Arms. You may remember there was a guy that I've showed several times on this show now who's a airsofter in Japan who just does a lot of fast target shooting.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Yes, Laiku. And he got money from Americans. They raised money to fly from Japan over to America to meet Lucas and go on the firing range. The reason why I meet Lucas is they are very similar. It's almost like a mini-me version.
Okay.
And a video came out over last week, which was, let's just fast forward a bit. There we go. You can kind of see how identical they are there. So the guy on the right-hand side is the Japanese guy. And the video here is basically, can airsoft be used to train for real steel? And this video kind of shows it all. It shows how fast, accurate, and quickly he picked up, considering he's never, ever fired a firearm before. And even the guys watching it were like, how insanely fast this is for someone who's never fired a firearm before, never fired an AR before. In Japan, it's obviously illegal.
Yeah.
And they ran for over a weekend, loads of different exercises. And I think this may be one of those videos that people will always refer back to as showing that airsoft can be used as a training discipline. And maybe that's something that may help in future with rangers accepting airsoft a little bit more. So, but no, amazing video. I highly recommend if you're a fan of T-Rex Arms or just want to see this video. It's about 30 minutes long, but it is definitely a fantastic video to watch on there for sure. And
it's great to see.
Yeah, I was literally in awe watching it. I've always said before, this guy's absolutely insane, but to watch him on the range beating guys who have fired firearms for years, it was quite incredible.
I was looking just looking at different bits and pieces that were when we were at IWA last time. We had a quick look at some of the sort of the training aids, if you will, for airsoft and real steel and stuff, and if they're interchangeable. And we found a couple, and then one of them I noticed actually had just been released onto Amazon, and I've sent a link across to you, Graham, which is they call it the Mantis X, and it's kind of like a little attachment that you put on the bottom of your rifle or pistol, and it basically tracks on your iPhone the movement of your hand and where the hand-eye coordination is going and everything like that. And it was kind of like, I wasn't sure whether it was something that A, would be very practical to use on a game site like ours, or B, whether it would traverse the two. But the feedback that it's had from Amazon and other people in other forums that I've read, it's kind of like, it's an awesome little bit of kit.
Airsoft Action did a review on this, I want to say a year ago or maybe 18 months ago. And they said it can be an amazing aid. There's also the one with Scott Country. I've got one. I can't remember the name right now. I mean, it's Laser
Ammo.
Yes, Laser Ammo. Thank you for that. Yes, Laser Ammo, exactly. And yeah, there's a few other little variations like that. And I do think they can be used massively to help performance. It's just whether we see airsofters kind of taking that next step and wanting to, you know, not just turn up and play, but actually want to improve on themselves. And it's definitely going to be for certain players and not for others. But I saw this Mantis, probably about a year ago, and I was really, really amazed by it. I thought it was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
As long as you don't get confused and shoot your phone.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is you can dry fire with it. So essentially, it's going to tell you if you're snapping at the trigger too much, or if you're kind of bracing. And again, with airsoft, there's limited recoil. But if you're bracing for the recoil and pushing down for it, so if you're bracing for it and you start pointing the gun down to brace for the recoil of the gas blowback to keep on range, it will show you on there and say, look, you're pulling it too sharply or jerking at it or anticipating. It's definitely a cool performance tool.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so very cool. Let's jump off that one now. But no, I think it's really cool stuff. In terms of the Extreme BB, Extreme Airsoft, we're going to talk about that bit now. We're going to talk about that now before we go any further. Okay. Where did Extreme Airsoft start? When did it start? And kind of how did this come to be, really?
So I wasn't in at the beginning. The company was started by Lee, obviously my business partner. He started it, and he started it purely and simply as two-tone. It was two-tone BB guns. BBs are actually, the word BB gun is still searched on Google search. I think it was something like, the last time we checked was 25,000 to 1 over the word airsoft.
Yeah.
So from a pure sort of web-based, if you're looking to build a company and stuff like that, or just BB guns, only BB guns and BB guns for less, there's a reason why they still do that. It's because it's searched way, way more. So it started off with Lee. Lee did it. He was doing two-tone stuff, and then he got into the sport, started playing it, and it spread from there. And then I was a player, and it was, sorry, I got distracted.
I knew it would throw you off.
I've never been described as that before, but it was kind of, I was a player, and Lee got me into the sport. Lee was always really sort of, anybody who came down to the store was looking in. He grabbed you, he took you on board, and he was like, "Come on, guys, let's get you to a game." And it kind of spread from there. And I was teaching at the time, and I was kind of sick of teaching. And Lee was kind of like, "Well, look, this is where I want to go with the company. Do you want to come on board?" And I was like, "Absolutely, I want to get in." So I bought in with some money, and when we did that, we opened up the department, which is our home and has been our home for the last nearly 4 years, which is our game site, and we moved Extreme Airsoft into there. So we are a large retail store, and we're a CQB site all rolled into one that's open 6 days a week. We have game every night of the week. I've got 30 odd guys running around down in the game zone right now, who are having a blast, actually, the last time we popped out. And that's how it got going, really. And then from then on, it's just gone from strength to strength, and I think we're mad. We're just getting bigger and bigger.
So was the original idea to have a shop, and then the thought was the site as well, or was it just the idea straight away to have the shop and then go on with the site?
The shop and site combination was an idea that we wanted to do straight away. It's kind of like Lee was already taking guys to other game sites on game days. So we'd go and play as a group. The shop would run a game and away day to somewhere else. And it was kind of, okay, so where does this go? The logical step is, I'm taking players to somewhere else. Why can't those players play here? You see what Ivike do in the US, and it was kind of like, well, from what we saw over here, nobody was really doing it. And it was kind of like, well, let's do it. Let's give it a go. And I'm really, really glad we did. We've got an awesome community, because you don't just gain customers who are coming in and buying BBs and leaving, and buying a gun and leaving. What they're doing is they're forming bonds and friendships. And I think that's probably one of the things we're most proud of, is that in the last 12 months, we've had had nearly almost 5,000 players come through the door.
Wow.
And of those, there's guys who've never seen each other before. They've never played airsoft. They've never spoken outside, but they're now forming their own little teams, and they're going off and playing elsewhere. They're going to play Storm Force. They're going to play Tack House. They're going to play all over. And there's even sort of younger guys who are still 14, 15 and at school. They go to different schools, but they're now actually sort of, they're as good mates as if they're going to the same school. And it's all from here. So I'm massively proud of that, of what we've done. So it's awesome. I'm so pleased.
I'm so glad you said that, because, you know, as you said, 15 years ago, you used to go to a local retailer at a time, and, you know, every other Sunday or once a month, they would organise a skirmish shoot where they would hire, you know, a site out, and all their customers and their community would go with them, and we'd drive in a huge convoy down to play airsoft.
Yeah,
because you're right, it's a rarity, but that's the point. You are building such a community around the store to have a site, you know, essentially as part of the package there. Even now, you must know it's a rarity to see retailers that also have a site, you know, a site basically next door to them. Yeah.
On the same premises, I don't know. Somebody probably goes, no, there's one here, there's one there, but
yeah,
I can't think of a main sort of a skirmish site that's literally in the same building, not even sort of 20 yards away. Do you know what I mean? As being a main retail site, I can't think of one. I know.
I was nervous to say exactly the same.
Yeah. Like literally, somebody's going to come in and go, "No, there's one here, mate."
It's 15 of them. Yeah. But no, I think
when you were looking for a site, why did you choose CQB over, say, a Woodland site or a different kind of site? Why was it going to be CQB, or was it just because you found that building?
A little bit of both, I think. There's probably a little bit of both in there. I mean, obviously, if the main thing was finding somewhere that ticked more boxes than just sort of like, oh, it will do. Do you know what I mean? It's very. You could, I suppose, you could put a nice sort of building or something next to a Woodland site, or you could find one that's very close and you could go outside. But what we kind of looked at was a leisure centre situation, or a gym, or somewhere where you can go on the regular that's open, whether it's wind, rain, sleet, snow, whatever it's doing. It's like, what should we do tonight? We can go down to the department, and we can have a game of airsoft. And even if you don't want to play, you can go down, you can chill, you can look in the store, you can use my vending machine. You can't do that outdoors. So it was kind of, that ticked more boxes to do CQB. And plus, generally, both me and Lee are CQB players over Woodland. I'm an overweight 36-7-year-old man. I don't weather well outside. So, you know, stairs are as much as I can do. So.
Talking stairs, then you had the second site.
Yeah, well, talking stairs as well. We just going back to the department. We'd reached maximum capacity that we could handle here. So it was kind of like, okay, I can't build out, so we built up, and we've literally, as of Friday, the last steel underpins will go in. We will have a second floor in the game zone at the department.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that's not that we had enough to do already, but we decided to. Put more stress on ourselves by building a second floor in there. So it's all go.
The sky's the limit, then, really.
I know. Yeah, I'm running out of room up though, so I kind of new roof is not something I want to contemplate right now.
I will just say, Steve Maynard did jump in there. Essex has 2 sites that have retailers on board. There we go, Steve. Good to have you here, mate. Nice to see you again. Not caught up for a while. That's really cool because last year the department didn't have the second floor, but it was like the marshal area where you could go up the top and spectating, grab all the shots while trying to avoid any other shots coming your way. So that's really cool.
What happened now is that marshal area is actually behind Perspex in the middle of the second floor.
Oh, wow.
What we have is we've got night vision cameras going in the dark rooms. We also have another 12 cameras positioned around game site, which are all controlled from the Marshall Tower, along with smoke machine, lights and stuff. And then the game will be being streamed live throughout the evening. So every 3-hour session will now be streamed live. So you can log in and you can choose which camera you want to watch and see the game.
That is so cool. I love that.
That is epic. Oh, I'm looking forward to see that.
Yeah, it'd be good. You'll be able to see the yelps of pain when somebody...
That's really cool.
Your marshals are quite safe then. They're not going to get hit then because they're in the tower.
Not if you're behind the Perspex. You're fully safe there.
Brilliant.
Do you want a job?
You need to open one in Kent.
Yeah, well, you never know. We might end up down there one day.
Really off topic, Sarah, something to talk about for another show for sure. Did you see there is a new CQB site opening in Kent?
No, I didn't actually.
Okay, I will send you the details after the show. They got an open date. So it's not something to talk about on the show, but while you just said that, I just did spot over the weekend.
If it's the one that I think it is, the news I'll give you later on was quite a surprise to us as well. So.
Okay.
Oh, really? We'll definitely talk after the show. It's a school. It's an old school. If anyone is in the Kent area, I wouldn't say 200 rooms. That may sound really extreme. Over in Swanley.
Oh my God.
Yes, a friend of mine. I didn't know at the time, and he's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Who's involved in this?" Yeah, no, I'm involved in this. I was like, "Oh, that's cool to hear." Really excited for that. But yeah, that's for another show for definitely. So let's talk about the department. The Project X, because to me this is as much as the department's your baby, your home site. Project X to me is mind blowing. I will put a video up on it now. Brought to you proudly by Airsoft Action TV. Thank you very much, Tom and Gadge there, because I know they did an awesome video. So I'll put that on the side here. For anyone who's not aware of what Project X is, can you kind of give us the down low as to what the site is and how it came to be for you?
Okay, so the site is actually part of what used to be the rubber factory in Leicester, which was Dunlop. The whole site is 6.1 acres, which has got some. There's various other businesses which are located mainly on the ground floor, and we were approached twofold. So there was one of the guys who is responsible for the building came to us, like what we were doing at the department, and sort of said, I have this, what do you think? And we were kind of like, to be honest, we were blown away and a little bit sort of a little bit overwhelmed as to just the sheer scale and size of it. But it was kind of like it's one of these places where if you're given the opportunity to do something like this, you're kind of like, let's do it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those where you don't even need to. We didn't think about it for very long. It was like, yeah, we're doing it. And what you've just seen there is actually only around about maybe 40% of the entire site. So the other 60% is the old boardroom offices. I was in there the other day, and one of them happened to say the human resources replacement manager on the door. So make of that what you will. But it's the other half of it that you don't see there is obviously even more CQB than what we sort of put in there.
And how many players can you get in there?
Well, we reopened up and we cautiously capped at sort of 90, 100. And we had a few no-shows yesterday, but we ended up running at 80. And there was a point where I was in the safe zone in between the game, and there was a full-blown firefight going on the second floor in one part of the building, and I couldn't hear a thing. And it wasn't until I radioed somebody on the radio and I said, "Guys, are you still in? What's going on? Are you still here?" And all I heard back was, "Oh, it's fine, it's fine." And I was like, "Okay, something is going on." And it was, I mean, we could probably accommodate 200, 250 players in the site, and that wouldn't be too
Wow.
I'll be honest, I don't want to do that, because I would.
Yeah.
There's a real danger as a site owner that you can get carried away and go, yeah, get players in and get money in and get that. So we're going to cap at around about the 120 mark, just to mean that there's nowhere that you're going to bottleneck. You're going to get mullered, shall we say, by somebody. So.
And it is spread over. Right, say it's 4 floors, right?
So it's spread out. Yeah, technically, yeah. We've got, so there's 2 floors on either side of the building that are in play right now. Yep. The 3rd floor above the bit that we've just cleared out, until we look at it more closely and in depth, I'm not convinced I'm ever going to clear it. It's just, it's ankle deep in just rubble and garbage and everything. So probably not. There is a 3rd floor on the site that has been cleared. We have cleared it. That will get thrown into game as well. So I think generally it'll probably be 3 floors. Will be as far as we'll go. There is potential for scope to go even further with some of the other areas of the site which are unused, etc., etc. But how big do you need an airsoft site?
Yeah.
I have put the link to Airsoft Action's review of Project X, which is, it's probably about a year old at this point, so there's definitely changes since then, but it gives you an idea of the grand scale of the site. And we were talking before the show that we think right now that it is the largest CQB indoor-only site in Europe, which is insane.
Just pure indoor, I think it is. I mean, obviously there's way bigger sites, but just pure under one roof, from what we were looking at, I can't see any that were bigger. And
that's quite a statement for the site being in the UK. I mean, land, rent, all of that stuff is not cheap over here. I mean, when you compare to things like the States and stuff, we just simply don't have buildings of this size and caliber open for an airsoft site for sure.
No.
And I think it's absolutely amazing. Obviously, you've got ample parking there as well.
Yeah. We've just actually, we've managed to negotiate our own private car park there now for Sundays. So it's designated just for us for around about 80 to 90 cars, which is awesome. So that means if people turn up, the problem with the old entrance, because we've now moved the entrance into the site, was that it was a bit of a walk to get your kit round, because you had to walk around most of the outdoor of the site to get there. But it was also open for other businesses and things like that were using some of the ground floor. So it wasn't designated for us, but that's solved now. So that's a big plus.
And it's been a rather long journey for you to get here. You've had a lot of work. I'm sure a lot of money into doing what you've done. The amount of work that I saw prior to get cleaned up and cleared out and make it safe for airsoft. You had situations with fire alarms, didn't you? Last year, was that?
Yes, we had a visit from the fire brigade, as everybody does, and they decided that the fire alarms that were in place were not good enough for the business downstairs. So nothing to do with us; it was the business that was running downstairs. And because their fire alarm was no good, it meant that everybody above them couldn't function. So it was like, awesome. I'm not prepared to put a £10,000 plus alarm system in somebody else's property. So we had to wait for them to do that. And then it was just, we then had we had a really poor winter, didn't we? Sort of, with a lot of frost and ice. And that just destroyed the plumbing. So we had no toilets for a while, which was a nightmare. It flooded. It was just, if it could go wrong, it went wrong. And it was kind of a nightmare for a long time. But it was nice to stand in there yesterday after everybody had left. And me and Lee looked at each other and we were like, do you know what? We're getting there. We can see a light now at the end of the tunnel, which was awesome. So, yeah, a long haul.
Given that the department's open 6 days a week, what's the plans with this site? Is it something that you're just doing once a month, or are you going to scale it up?
Scaling it up. The long-term plan is to scale it up. So it will be, at the moment, we are going to run roughly every 2 weeks, so every other week on a Sunday. and we're going to book up to 120. So there's plenty of spots if people want to come down, have a game. It's nice being in the middle of Leicester and so close to the train station.
Yeah.
We're only really a couple of hours from anywhere sort of within reason in the country, other than sort of the far north, sort of Manchester and above. So it's easy to get to. I know when Tom and Gadge came down, Tom came on the train, I believe. So it's about a 10-15 minute walk from Leicester Station. It's easy to do. And then after we've done every other sort of Sunday, our new site, which we have just sort of done the deal for, will then open, and we'll probably alternate between that Project X and the new site. So we'll see. There's things going. It's called the Faculty, the new site. So make of that what you will, and what we said about the school earlier on.
And say, come on in. We need to know more. What can you say? And are there any photos?
There's no photos right now, but it is a absolutely huge secondary school.
Wow.
In Leicestershire, it's ginormous. So the beauty of that is that it is still it's still everything in situ. So blackboards, tables.
Oh, wow.
There's actually, we walked around the gym and there's still 2 huge gym trampolines in there.
Could be interesting.
We were told by the premises officer that over the summer last year, some local youths broke in and stole a trampoline, and they found it in the middle of the housing estate round the corner. And they let them keep it over the summer because they were playing on it, and then took it back. So but yeah, there's a lecture auditorium. It's mental. It's awesome. So there'll be a lot more on that when it's done, and I've managed to get round and dot the I's and cross the T's on it. But that'll be good.
Any idea on kind of when you're expecting to run games there? Is it really too early?
It's a bit early at the minute. I'd like to have something going by end of September, beginning of October.
Oh wow! So this year, then I was thinking you were going to go probably early next year.
No, I'd like to have it going this year if we can. It's builders dependent and things that go on, but and there's always going to be a council or two that are going to throw some spanners in the works. I'd like to hope that something would happen. So yeah, but when we close Valhalla, really, that would be.
I would say, talking about Valhalla, and you just said closing Valhalla, so this may be a very short-lived conversation. This was obviously
just for the winter.
Okay. I was going to say this is your first woodland site now, right?
It is. Yeah, it's our first venture into woodland site. We worked very closely with the guys down at Armageddon Tank Paintball. They wanted something they've always had the paintball site down there, but they were very keen to get some airsoft going in there again, etc. So we had a good chat. Alex, who's one of the guys down there, get on with him very well, and a couple of the other guys who work there I know from other things. So it was nice to sort of let's give it a go. We're not woodland guys. I'm not a woodland player, but it's another. The more sites, the better, I feel. So it's
And what was your plan? I know that when we spoke again, it was a year ago about Valhalla, but you'd only recently sorted that out there. Is that something that you plan to do regularly, or was that something that you were just going to do, a couple of times a year?
It's going to be something that we run sort of 4 or 5 times a year. Not a regular sort of skirmish site. It's more of an event sort of site. We've got enough going on with Project X and the department.
So when you say events, are they going to be milsims? Are they going to be role play?
We want to get some milsims involved. I mean, I've got to say, I'm not a milsim guy. Never have been. I don't know what it entails.
My language.
I don't know what it entails to do a milsim, and I think that maybe a milsim for somebody like me, somebody who's more of a sort of a let's give it a go, but they're a regular airsoft, a recreational airsofter maybe, lead them into a sort of a light a milsim light maybe, I don't know, but kind of sort of that sort of thing, but more. I don't know, maybe a mini festival of airsoft, a small one that just happens a few times a year where people can get
like a general airsoft weekender. It's more like skirmish games where you get to stay there overnight and you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, something like that. But I don't know. We'll see where it takes us.
And have you run any events there? I think you've run a couple now, right?
Yeah, we've had 2 there, and they've been. To be honest, they've been good. They've been nice. We've had some great players down there. Some really great sort of teamwork and stuff and play. It's been good. Me and Lee take a bit more of a back step on that because we just don't know Woodland. So we've got a couple of guys who are part of our team here. They go down, they sort it. They're far more proactive with it than we are. We provide a lot of the sort of the advertisement and the booking system and stuff like that. And they run it.
John Pope's turning this into an actual festival here, saying live band, barbecue, beers. I'm in. I think we forgot. Forgot the important airsoft part of that there, John.
I know Pope. I don't think he's too worried about the airsoft.
Well, if you're looking for ideas, zombie outbreak.
It's not
in a weekend. We need to do it like the Americans do.
We've actually got a zombie company we're working with called Zombie Uprising. They're a company based in, I think they're based in Sheffield originally, and they do some sites, and they're coming to the department to run what I can only describe as a terrifying experience.
Oh, fantastic.
I think it's going to be sort of a radioactive thing that they're going to run at Project X. Sorry, not the department. And it just looks terrifying, but so the guy who actually runs it is just like, we will break you.
Are you going to be doing the live streams for that as well?
I don't know whether it's actually suitable to be brought.
I'd say there'd be four crying adults in the corner.
Yeah. Are you okay there? Why have you got a wet hand? Might not be appropriate for you, Keith. Maybe.
That's really cool. So we are running up to 9 o'clock here, but I did want to talk about 2 things. One, you've got an event coming up this weekend, which we want to talk about that one for sure. And also the lead up to what you've been doing for the last month, because I think it's an absolutely insane offer for players. So let's talk about what you've got going on this weekend, Chris.
So this Saturday is our annual open day. So what we do is we open up the department and we allow free gaming all day in there. So you can come down, get yourself booked on, you can get in the arena and you can shoot yourself or shoot other people to your heart's content. And we let you do that for free. So then what we do up in the store is we get as many brands as we can that we generally stock anyway, but we like to get sort of the guys behind the brand down. So Trent from NOVRITSCH, Chris from Vulcan, we've got Herman coming from Red Wolf, we've got Cybergun coming down, Tenata JTAC are coming down, KWA, they're all coming down to showcase what they've got coming up, but also give you an opportunity to touch it, feel it, stuff that necessarily we don't normally stock in store. So we have a lot of giveaways and prizes. Cybergun have been awesome this year. They've actually donated an A&K Cybergun license 249 as our raffle prize, which we donate our raffle prize to Crohn's and Colitis as our charity. So all the money that's raised goes to them. NOVRITSCH have been awesome again. They're always awesome with us. We work really well with NOVRITSCH. They have donated a breacher and a pistol as well. Vulcan have donated a rifle. There's just, I mean, that's just to name a couple of raffle prizes you can win on the day. But it's just, we have a lot of fun. I know you came. Was it last year now?
I've been the last 2 years, and
yeah.
I was like, I said to you before, and you guys very kindly invited me up there. I was like, I really can't do this weekend. I've got a wedding, although everything's changed and I am playing this weekend anyway. But yeah, I will say, for me, it's about a 3-hour trip up, and I've loved every time I've come up there. I think if you've not visited the area, it's a fantastic retail store. I mean, you've got pretty much every brand represented at some point in the store there. I mean,
we've got Oshi Boom coming down as well this year, because I know they've just brought out new stuff. They're coming down. So it'll be great to talk to those guys about, because they've got a few things that are coming. We have a brand new grenade which is being launched in store on Saturday from JTAC, which I'll be honest, I can't wait to look at.
Is that the AG40? Is that the AG40?
I believe so. Yeah. I know Lee's been dealing with them, John, a lot about that. So that's coming. Neutral, G&G, S&T, A&K, TM. We've got a lot of TM coming down. A lot of Classic Army. Red Wolf. We've got a lot of VFC in, because we've just started really pushing VFC as a brand. So I know those guys are coming down, because we push a lot with them. We have another shipment of the John Wick 3 pistols, which are due with us tomorrow, I believe. I quickly glanced at the website earlier, and I had 3 back orders of those already. So
I was like, will only be available come the weekend?
I don't know. I mean, these are the Jag Arms ones as well.
Yeah.
So. The EMG ones, we're still waiting, because our pre-order still hasn't arrived. I think that Evike were very, very careful of keeping them all for themselves, of those first ones. So that was
absolutely.
But then we've got Will Greenwood's coming down. It's always good to come and have a blast at Will in the game zone. So if anybody wants to come and shoot Will, I don't know if he's watching.
Free of charge as well.
Absolutely. You have to pay to do this sort of thing, but no, you can shoot Will to your heart's content. Angelo DeVito's coming down. He's awesome when it comes to writing reviews and stuff, and he's coming down. He normally comes down, does a bit of reviewing and stuff with us. And then Victoria Trafford from AI, she does a lot of stuff for them. She's coming down to have a little look at it, etc., and do some photos and a bit of stuff for AI. So there's so much going on, and you can play the second floor for free here. So it's awesome. I can't wait.
And the doors are open at 10 till 4, so it's an all-day affair.
Doors are open 10 till 4. Yeah. That's. We've been. What we decided to do is we decided to do a giveaway for the 40 days leading up to the event. So every day for the last 40 days, we've run a competition to win something, whether it was all the way from BBs through to Colt rifles, Sidewind rifles, Deadpool pistols, John Wick 3 pistols. So it's been mad.
You've been busy then.
Yeah.
I've been approving those posts on the UK AC group, and it's like every day I'm like, blimey, they're keeping up every single day, and more giveaways. It's absolutely crazy. And obviously you got the big raffle on the day, which I know a lot of players get excited for, because there's some amazing prizes there for sure.
It's great to raise money for the Crohn's and colitis. I mean, obviously being diagnosed with Crohn's myself, it's not a charity that you'd automatically go to. So it was awesome last year. I think we raised over £200 for them. So it was awesome. So anything we can do like that, I love it. It's really great.
Well, I am ashamed that I'm not going to be there this weekend, but I do hope it is a fantastic one. I'm definitely going to have to come down soon, or come up soon. I need to go play at Project X for sure. I'm excited to hear about the new site, the faculty. Yeah. I'm really getting into my CQB at the moment. It's something that I've typically avoided for years and only played at the odd CQB site, but I'm really fancying it now. So that's going to be really
come to the dark side.
You're both always welcome here.
Well, Chris, that's absolutely awesome. Sarah, obviously, next event for you, is that NAE?
Yep, NAE, NAF, whatever you call it. But I've been talking to my friends about it, and half of them are like, we're not even playing. We're just going to drink from the second we get there to the second we leave. I'm thinking, oh my God.
Exact conversations I've heard in this zone here.
Yeah.
going to try and play a little bit, before I start drinking. But yeah, no, I can't wait.
And say I went 2 years ago and played and had no issues the whole time. A lot of people gave it a lot of stick, and I actually said I didn't have any issue. And we were in the thick of it at times. I know you can get lost if you're on your own.
Yeah,
I think
I did.
Sarah, you spoke about this on the Chairsofter podcast recently.
Yeah.
You could walk around and be completely lost. It's a huge site, but I do think it's a fantastic weekend. And on the grand scale, if you think 2,500 players, 3,000 players. It's such a small percentage of players who do kind of ruin that and give that bad experience. But no, I think it should be a great weekend. If anyone's been tuned into Airsoft Nation for quite a while now, I did take a year out of work and I've just returned back to work. So I'm so broke. So overextended on every bank card, credit card. So I'm actually only going for the camping purely to save my wallet. So I'll be there. I just feel like I can't not go because it's so much fun. So I was like, I'll just have some money for beer, enjoy the social life, and catch up with friends who you typically don't get to see for a good year most of the time.
That's true. That is true. I think they've set up an indoor CQB arena now. I don't know if you've seen it, but they put some photos on Instagram.
G&G one, yeah, they do that every year. So the winners from that actually go towards the G&G World Cup, I recall. So what we were just talking about.
I don't know if it is. I thought this was a separate thing. Maybe not then.
Maybe separate, yeah. I'll have to have a look into it. I know if you are still watching this live right now, it is 9:10. You have 50 minutes to book in for the last one. Well, that's very cool, Sarah. So we'll obviously have to catch up when I'm down there as well. This weekend, unfortunately, as I said earlier, I wasn't going to the open day, wasn't planning to Airsoft, but things have changed. I will be at the even further away than Extreme Airsoft. I'm actually going up to Glasgow for the charity event weekender. Let's get that up there for the depot charity weekender. I have a depot in Glasgow. Phil Campion's going to be there. Jet and Leah will be up there. The Chairsofter will be up there, and that's another weekend event there for charity.
That'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a site I've wanted to play a long time. It's just so far away for me. And just circumstances changed. I'm at a wedding on Friday night. I'm going to come home, drop the wife, get back in the car.
Oh, my God.
And take the drive through the night to try and get there before 10 a.m. I think it's about a 7.5-hour journey up there. So, yeah, if the M25 is any good, I mean, yeah, straight up the A1. Yeah, at the M25. But I went to Yorkshire last week on my week off. So we went up to Yorkshire, and it took me 7 hours to get to Yorkshire on a 4.5-hour journey, and then 8 hours to get home because of just terrible roads. And the M25 is the bane of my life. So I am hoping this time, if we're leaving through the night on a Friday night, I'm hoping most people will be drinking and off the road as opposed to drinking and on the road. So I might have a clear journey up there.
By the time you hit the M6, just shy of Carlisle, they'll close all the lanes off for you. It's beautiful. I do it to go and see the in-laws, parents, and stuff. It's a fun journey, mate. I don't.
Yeah. So everything changed. Literally, it was about 2 weeks ago, and I said to my wife, I was like, I know we're at the wedding on Friday, but I've been invited and I really want to go up there. I want to meet Phil Campion, and I didn't go to War and Peace. Jet and Leah up there, which want to have a chat with them. And there's some friends up there that I've not played with for 2 and a bit years. So I was like, they're all going up there. So let me get the hall pass for that weekend.
They don't have planes, right, to Scotland?
Well, the problem was there was planes, there are coaches, but none of them will work because I'm at the wedding on Friday. And I was like, I wasn't going to risk saying to my wife, can I go and skip the wedding? I think that's going to get me in a whole world of trouble. So I was like,
you can win, my friend. Fight the battle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, especially when you got NAF the week after that as well. It's going to be. So yes, but Chris, I do hope you have a great weekend. Guys, if you are around the Leicester area, and even if you're not around the Leicester area, get yourself over there to Extreme Airsoft, a free game or two. I know last time there was people there going 2-3 rounds in and playing as much as they could.
Can I go again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it's 2 floors now. It's double the capacity, right? That's the way it works. But definitely, guys, go up there, support the charity there, go buy some new guns and play with them on the day. See all the exciting stuff. Make sure you take a part of the raffle, because I know there's some fantastic prizes there. Chris, thank you so much for coming on. I'm super excited for all the things there. I know you guys work super hard and have always been massively proactive for the airsoft community. So it's fantastic to see. And I hope to get you back on soon.
Thanks, mate. Hope to be back.
Cool. Cheers, Chris. Thank you very much for watching, guys. That is the end of Airsoft Radio for this week. We will be back next Monday, 8 p.m. I hope to see you there then. Bye for now.